What's up, guys? It's Matt with Suck My Mod. Today we're going to check out a pretty unique and interesting Addy. This one is made by Eciggity and EHPRO. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Morph tank. All right, this is the Morph tank. Like I said, it's a collaboration between Eciggity and EHPRO. It is a sub-ohm tank. And before you say, oh God, not another sub-ohm tank, this one is quite a bit different. Why is it unique? You can use Kanger heads, Aspire heads, and Joytech heads. So the Aspire Atlantis heads, the sub tank, the Delta II will all work in this, and along with that comes with the rebuildable section. So talk about having some versatility, that's pretty damn cool. Right now I have it in the Atlantis mode. I guess we'll call it that, the Atlantis mode. I got it at 40 watts. I got the airflow wide open on my Vape Droid DNA 40. Let's go ahead and vape it. Yeah, this has quite a bit of airflow. I would say it has more airflow than like the sub tank, than the Delta II did. It's probably on par with like the newer Atlantis, the Atlantis II, I would say, even though it doesn't have that drip tip thing where you can make the airflow even wider by turning it. But, it's got a lot of airflow. So there's more than enough airflow for majority of the people out there. Now, it does sound maybe too good to be true. I will tell you, it's a nice tank, but it's not super simple, okay? You got to know how to use some tools. Swapping out different coil heads isn't just like something you do on the fly. You got to do it, and you might have to use a couple different pieces. So what we'll do is we'll go down to the table. I'm not going to vape this in every single mode for you guys, but I'll show you every single mode and what you have to do to swap out the different pieces and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so here is what you're going to get, right? You're going to get two boxes. This little box that says Morph adapters, as you can see right there, and then the box that has your tank in it, it says Morph tank, all that good stuff, all right? On the back there just has some warnings, pretty standard EHPRO Eciggity box. Now, your tank's obviously going to be in there. You're going to have some cotton right here. You're going to have a screwdriver right here. You're going to have a drip tip right here, which I already have out, and I'll show you guys. And there also is going to be a set of spares in here. Just one of these standard little screwdriver thingies. We don't need to spend a bunch of time on that. But, you get everything you need. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Now in this next box, what's in there is the different adapters that you're going to need for your different parts, okay? Now, these are all going to be in plastic bags, and they're all going to be, separate. You got the Atlantis, the, what's right here, the Delta, and then the sub-tank right there, okay? So we'll get back to those after I show you the tank and how it's set up right now. All right, so here is what the Morph tank looks like, okay? Not a bad looking tank. It's got the exposed O-rings, kind of like the sub tank. It's got a little sleeve inside there with the lightning bolt. I believe that's like Esiggity's logo when they partner up with the EHPRO. It's not bad looking. It's fairly tall. But it's kind of on par with the size of a lot of other sub-ohm tanks, like the Magnus, stuff like that. I believe from the base here up to like that spot right there, not the drip tip, but that spot, that guy, it's about 55 millimeters. So, not hideously tall. It's 22 millimeters wide. On the base there, it says designed by EHPRO and Eciggity. You got a copper pin, does have a serial number, which is nice. This drip tip does come with it, which is also nice. It says Morph on it. It's got a Delrin base in there to keep it from getting too hot. And then here's the airflow. Good amount of airflow, as you can see, more than ample. What we have learned, though, obviously, is the airflow is only going to be as loose as the tightest spot that is traveling through. So this could be honking huge, but if there's only a certain amount of space in that coil head, so like here's an Atlantis coil head, you're only going to get that much airflow, right? Okay. But that's a whole nother video. We could talk about that. Sometimes people just mistakenly look at this and say, wow, look at that airflow. Anyway, But this does have quite a bit of airflow. It's got more than like the Subtank does, because the Subtank does seem to limit it a little bit in the airflow department around the airflow ring. So I definitely get a looser draw off this with the Subtank heads than I do on the normal Subtank. With the Atlantis heads, it's about equal, I would say, with the Atlantis version 2, if the airflow is closed on the little drip tip, which I never use either. And I would also say it's a little bit looser than the Delta II as well. So you get more than enough airflow with this guy. Let's pop the base off. Now I don't have a build in here because I just took everything out and cleaned it up, but I'm going to show you guys. My coil is hideous anyway. I'm going to show you guys what the rebuildable section looks like, okay? Really, really basic. Nice big airflow hole right there. I think it's, gosh, what is it? Well, this right here is about 3 millimeters. That fits in there just fine. I would say it's 3.5 to 4 millimeters. So you get a really loose draw. It's not restrictive at all from this rebuildable section. Like a lot of the other Sublim tanks, once you put the RBA section in there, it stiffens up the draw. Doesn't do that with this one. This RBA section, kind of like the Joytech RBA section. I love how big the channels are, as you can see. It's built kind of like a K-Fun. I do wish that the screws were a little bit bigger. So if you're someone that likes to wrap around the screws, you know, I just wish they had bigger heads. It also has the holes in the side there that you can slip your wire into with that. But, you know, this is really nice with just a, you know, like 26 gauge single coil. You could even do a 24 gauge single coil. You want to use a good amount of cotton because those channels are so large, but I've had good success with it, and it's a nice vape, so definitely like it a lot more than like the Subtank RBA section. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is how to swap out different adapters, okay? Now, with this is the rebuildable section, right? This little piece right here, that thing right there comes out, right? Okay, there's what the bottom of that looks like. Let's set that aside. And then let's pull this top cap off. And that chimney right there will also unscrew. Still kind of wet. Okay, so now it's bare bones. We could put in other adapters. Okay, so let's do the Atlantis adapter. How about that? So here's what you get for Atlantis adapters, right? So you take this piece right here. It'll say ATL on it. Oops, flip that over. They're all marked, so you'll know which one's Subtank, which one's Delta II, which one's Atlantis. You screw that guy all the way in, and then you take this chimney piece right here, and that gets threaded into the top cap. Okay, so there is another step though, because for example, if here's an Atlantis head, if you take that, try to screw it in, now it won't screw all the way in. See that pin down there that is made for contacting the different heads that are in there? That's too long, so we got to swap that out. There's two different size pins in this, okay? The shorter, or I mean this longer one right here is used for the Subtank and for the rebuildable section. Gosh, I'm trying to, I don't have any more Delta II heads here. I only tried one Delta II head in this, and I was an idiot, and a couple weeks ago accidentally threw it away. I guess I should have bought more. But there's two, like I said, there's two sizes. This is the longer size, and then here, right here, that little grub screw right there is the shorter size, okay? I'll show you how to swap that out. So we need the shorter size in for the Atlantis because the head obviously protrudes out more from, you know, the bottom, and so it's too long to be able to, you know, screw down in there. So how we swap this guy out is we unscrew this copper pin right here, right? And then inside there, as you can see, there's another little grub screw. So you see how that grub screw right there is longer, all right? So we could put that aside. So next, before putting that smaller grub screw in there, what I'll do is, I got my Atlantis adapter in here. I'll take the Atlantis head. I'll screw that guy all the way in. And then I'll take this little grub screw that is way too tiny for my hands. Put that guy in there. And then I'll screw that in until it makes contact. So if for some reason you ever have an issue where it's not connecting, go in there, unscrew that, make sure that that thing's screwed in enough to connect with whatever atomizer head or whatever you have in this base. So once that guy's back in there, we got to put the copper pin back in as well. And then we screw that in until it makes connection. Okay, not super difficult, but obviously you're going to need some tools. And if you're like one of those people that likes no nonsense stuff, maybe this isn't for you. But you know, if you're using the same kind of heads for a month, it's not that big of a deal to have to swap this out every so often. So next, all we would do, here we have that same chimney, the Atlantis chimney in there. We'd screw that into the tank. And now this thing is set up in Atlantis mode, as you can see, right? You just fill up to that chimney just like you do with an Atlantis, and then you're good to go. So what we'll do, let's put this in Subtank mode because we'll vape that. I'm really sorry, guys. Like I said, I should have picked up some more Delta 2 heads. I'm racking my brain right now trying to remember if that one needs the longer grub screw or the shorter grub screw, but you'll know really quickly if you get this thing what it needs, if you put the head in and it's not working. So here's the Subtank adapters right here. Let's go ahead and pull the Atlantis ones out. Let's put the Subtank in. Here's a brand new Subtank coil head. Then that guy just screws in. And then obviously, because this has that shorter grub screw in, it's not going to be making connection with the 510. So then what we would obviously have to do is take this copper pin out. And we put the longer one back in. And they do give you quite a few spares, guys. So if you happen to lose a couple, you're going to be okay. This guy screws all the way in until it makes connection. So there I can tell it's touching that coil head right there. And then I take that 510 copper pin and just screw it back in like before. So easy as that. So then we'll take the tank. Here's the top cap of the tank. And then here is the Subtank chimney. And that guy just screws in as well. Then that top cap just screws right into the tank like so. I'm going to go ahead and prime up the Subtank head right here. Now all I got to do, I'm going to put my yogurt liquid that I love that we make and fill this guy up. And then just put it together like any other sub-ohm tank. Smack the drip tip on. And remember, these Subtank heads, they can't handle as much wattage as some of the others. So we want to turn it down to, you know, between 25, 30 watts. So start at 25 watts. See if it's firing. Yep, seems like it's doing good. So I think I pretty much went through everything with you guys. Obviously, you can see there's a lot of different parts, but once you get the hang of it and swapping out the different adapters and stuff, it's not too bad. So let's go ahead. We'll go back up top, vape it, and talk about it a little more. All right, so here's the morph tank. I have the Subtank head in here this time, 27.5 watts, and I have the airflow about halfway closed. Let's go ahead and vape it. Compared to the normal Subtank, even halfway closed, it's probably still more airflow. The reason I'm closing it down is this. Those Subtank coil heads really can only handle about 30 watts, right? If you go higher than that, they don't seem to keep up with their wicking, at least from my experience. But if you have the airflow wide open, I feel like it needs a little more power to get to the warmth that I want. So what I do is I turn it down, you know, close it about 2/3 of the way. Then I get a draw that's fairly similar to the Subtank, you know, the Subtank Mini, which I like this draw. But I'm just saying, if you're thinking, oh God, I want to get this so I can have a wide open Subtank vape experience, you can, but you just remember, you're not going to get it as warm as you may want it because those coil heads can really only handle up to about 30 watts. Hope that makes sense. Regardless though, you know, it's a nice vape. If you're somebody that does like multiple different coil heads or you have a few different ones, it wouldn't hurt to get it. The rebuildable section, fairly straightforward, kind of similar to like the Delta 2's rebuildable section. I like that it has really, really nice big juice channels. Just make sure, you know, you got enough cotton in there because that can flood because the juice channels are pretty large. As far as what heads do I like in this the most, it's really just a preference thing because because the vapes are all fairly similar to how they are in their own tanks. You know, I probably like the Atlantis and the Delta 2s slightly better, but this one's not bad too. So I don't know. It just depends on the mood I'm in as far as airflow. If I want some, you know, if I want to open this all the way up and I want to have a wide open, you know, nice airy lung hit, then I'll probably use an Atlantis head. But when I put the Subtank heads in, I close it down, like I said, maybe half to 2/3, and I still get a restrictive kind of lung hit. I'm going to vape it one more time. So, you know, all in all, I think it's a good tank. It's cool that you can have a little more liquid capacity, like with the Atlantis heads, where you get like, what is it, 4.5, 4.8 mils of liquid, as opposed to the Atlantis, where you get like, what, 3 or something. So it's cool that, you know, it'll hold a little more liquid, you know, like with the Subtank, 5.5, something like that. So, you know, it's definitely a versatile tank. It holds a good amount of liquid. It's not horrible looking. You know, I'm not crazy about the looks. Like the lightning bolt thing is not really my style, but it's not, I've seen way worse. It's not hideous either. You know, it comes with a nice drip tip. It's just, you know, for what it is and for the price, it's not bad at all. It's 40 bucks, $39.99 from Eciggity. Obviously, it doesn't come with any coil heads, so you're going to have to buy those separately if you don't already have them. But if you're someone that maybe is uncertain of what sub-ohm tank to get, you know, you could buy this and then you can use multiple different kinds of heads in it. I guess that would be cool. But like I showed you guys, it's not, you know, super simple. It's not hard for me and probably for a lot of you, but it's not super simple to swap out the different pieces. You know, you're going to need to sit down at your desk with a couple tools and spend 5 minutes to do it. Eciggity did tell me they'll give away 5 of these. How I'm going to do it is on my Facebook page. I know some of you don't have Facebook and you hate it, but it's just the easiest for me. And so, sorry, bear with me, but that's just, it's the most simple way for me to be able to handle a lot of people that want to be in a contest. Sorry, guys, that's just how it is. What I'll do is I'll make a post on my Facebook page after this uploads. I'll have you go ahead and like Esiggity's page as well. You can like my page if you haven't already. I'll put a link to my page in the description of this video. And then a week from when it's posted, I will pick 5 winners, and then Eciggity will send you guys each a morph tank. So that about wraps it up, guys. Until next time, thanks for watching. Suck my mod.